6 weeks had passed since Jennifer Lopez's twin sons vanished without a trace. Each day that went by chipped away at her hope, leaving her teetering on the edge of despair. The sleepless nights, the endless phone calls, the false leads, nothing had brought her any closer to finding Ethan and Noah. The world moved on, but Jennifer remained frozen in time, trapped in a nightmare that refused to end. But on one fateful afternoon, everything changed. A homeless woman, wrapped in layers of tattered clothing, stood near the entrance of a rundown KFC. Her gaze locked onto Jennifer's missing person posters plastered on the restaurant's wall. Her bloodshot eyes held an eerie certainty as she whispered, "Check the bathroom." Jennifer's breath hitched. The woman's words sent a chill crawling down her spine. Why was she so sure? What could possibly be waiting for Jennifer behind those bathroom stalls? She had no way of knowing that stepping through that door would unravel a horrifying truth. One that would shake her to her very core and lead her down a path she never could have imagined. What had happened to Ethan and Noah? And who had been hiding in the shadows all along? Before we dive in, let us know where you're watching from in the comments. And if you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling content. Jennifer Lopez stepped out of the police station. Her shoulders slumped with disappointment and frustration. The bright California sun seemed to mock her despair as she descended the steps toward the parking lot. Her mind was a whirlwind of emotions, replaying the heated argument that had just transpired inside. Jennifer, wait, she paused, turning to see Detective Ryan Chen hurrying after her. His face was etched with concern and a hint of guilt. "I'm sorry about what happened in there," Ryan said, slightly out of breath. "We didn't mean to dismiss your lead. It's just, we've been working this case for over a month now. And every dead end feels like a personal failure." Jennifer nodded, understanding his position but unable to shake her own frustration. "I know you're doing your best, Detective Chen, but the man who contacted me about seeing my sons in New York, he sounded credible." Ryan sighed, running a hand through his short, dark hair. "I understand, Jennifer, but you have to see it from our perspective. The reward you've offered on those missing posters, it's attracting all sorts of people looking for a quick payday." "But what if it's not that?" Jennifer countered, her voice rising slightly. "What if Ethan and Noah were kidnapped and taken out of state? We can't just ignore that possibility." "We're not ignoring it," Ryan assured her. "We put out alerts within the first 24 hours when you reported it to us last month. If they left the state, they'd have to be traveling under different identities. But Jennifer, we have to consider that we might be looking too far when they could still be right here in California." Jennifer shook her head, frustration bubbling up inside her. "But we found nothing here, Ryan. No trails, no evidence. We need to broaden our search." The detective placed a comforting hand on Jennifer's arm. "I promise you, we'll look into the New York lead. We just need to be thorough and methodical. Can you trust us on that?" Jennifer's eyes welled with tears. "I'm trying," she whispered, "but every day that passes, I feel like I'm losing hope of ever seeing my boys again." Ryan's expression softened. "I can't imagine what you're going through, Jennifer, but don't give up hope. We won't stop looking until we find them." With a final reassuring squeeze of Jennifer's arm, Detective Ryan Chen headed back into the station. Jennifer watched him go, then turned and walked to her car, her mind already racing with plans for the day ahead. As she settled into the driver's seat, Jennifer glanced at the stack of missing person flyers on the passenger seat. Ethan and Noah's smiling faces stared back at her from the glossy paper, their matching brown eyes and tousled dark hair a painful reminder of what she had lost. 6 weeks. It had been 6 weeks since her twin sons had vanished without a trace. Jennifer started the engine, her determination hardening. She may have taken a month off work, but this was her new full-time job, finding her boys. For hours, Jennifer drove through the city, stopping at every bus station, subway entrance, restaurant, and mall exit she could find. She hung new posters, replaced torn or faded ones, and spoke to anyone who would listen about her missing sons. As the afternoon wore on, exhaustion began to set in. Jennifer checked her watch. 3 p.m. The lunch rush would be over, making it a good time for a much-needed coffee break. She spotted a KFC nearby and pulled into the parking lot. Before entering the restaurant, Jennifer hung her last few posters on the wall outside. She stepped back, looking at the boys' faces one more time. With a deep sigh, She pulled out her phone and scrolled through her messages. No new texts, just previous false leads. Trolls, scams, and even a few threatening calls filling her inbox. Please, she whispered to herself. Let today be the day someone sees them. Let this be the break we need. With a final glance at the posters, Jennifer pocketed her phone and reached for the KFC's door handle. But something caught her eye, stopping her in her tracks. A homeless woman, perhaps around Jennifer's own age, was huddled near the entrance. In that moment, Jennifer felt a surge of compassion. Here was another soul who had clearly lost something precious in life. Without hesitation, she reached for her wallet and pulled out a few dollar bills. As she approached the woman to offer the money, the homeless woman's gaze flickered to the missing person posters. Are you searching for them? She asked, her voice hoarse but clear. Jennifer's heart skipped a beat. Yes, she replied cautiously. I'm Jennifer, their mother. Why do you ask? The woman's eyes, though bloodshot, held a spark of recognition. I've seen them before, she said. Right here. Those matching Spider-Man shirts. I'm almost certain it was them. Jennifer's breath caught in her throat. She studied the homeless woman carefully, looking for any signs that she might be under the influence of drugs or alcohol. But despite her disheveled appearance and reddened eyes, the woman's gaze was steady, and her movements seemed coordinated. When Jennifer asked, her voice barely above a whisper, when did you see them? The homeless woman furrowed her brow in concentration. It was about a month ago. I think. Yes, that sounds right. Jennifer's heart raced. The timeline matched up with when Ethan and Noah had gone missing. She crouched down next to the woman, careful not to crowd her. Can you tell me more? What exactly did you see? The woman nodded, her eyes taking on a faraway look as she recalled the memory. I remember it clearly because it was a rare day when I had enough money saved up to buy a proper meal. I was standing in line at the counter. And that's when I saw them. Two little boys in matching Spider-Man shirts. They were so adorable. I couldn't help but notice them. Jennifer's hands trembled as she listened. Did you see who they were with? The homeless woman shook her head. I'm sorry. I can't remember that part. There were a lot of people in here that day. But I do remember seeing them go into the bathroom. The bathroom? Jennifer repeated, her mind racing. Yes, the woman confirmed. I saw them go in. But I don't recall seeing them come out. Then again, I was focused on ordering my food. And it was quite crowded. I might have just missed them leaving. Jennifer stood up abruptly, her heart pounding. Thank you, she said quickly, pressing the money into the woman's hand. You have no idea how much this means to me. Without waiting for a response, Jennifer rushed into the KFC, her eyes immediately scanning the restaurant. She headed straight for the restrooms, ignoring the curious glances from the other patrons. The women's restroom was empty. But Jennifer checked each stall anyway, her hopes rising and falling with each push of a door. Finding nothing, she hesitated for a moment before slipping into the men's room when she was sure no one was around. As she was peering under the last stall, the door suddenly swung open behind her. Jennifer whirled around to see a janitor standing there, a confused and slightly alarmed expression on his face. Ma'am, he asked hesitantly, are you all right? This is the men's room. Jennifer felt her cheeks flush with embarrassment. I'm so sorry, she stammered. I thought I lost something in here earlier. My mistake. The janitor nodded, though he still looked skeptical. Well, if you've lost something, I'd be happy to keep an eye out for it during my cleaning rounds. Thank you, Jennifer said quickly, edging past him towards the door. But I think I must have left it somewhere else. Sorry for the confusion. As she exited the men's room, Jennifer felt a wave of defeat wash over her. She had been so sure this lead would pan out. But once again, she was left empty-handed. With a heavy sigh, she decided to use the women's restroom before leaving. Jennifer entered a stall, her mind still racing with possibilities. As she reached for the toilet paper, something caught her eye. There, wedged behind the trash bin, was a glint of something familiar. Her heart pounded as she pushed the bin aside and reached down. Her fingers closed around a pair of glasses, their lenses covered in a thin layer of dust. As she pulled them out, her breath caught in her throat. The brown-red plastic frames were unmistakable. They were identical to the pair Ethan wore. With shaking hands, Jennifer carried the glasses to the sink. She gently washed away the dust, her mind flashing back to the day she had Ethan's name carved into the temple of the frames. Turning them over, she saw it there, clear as day. Ethan Lopez, etched into the plastic. A sob escaped Jennifer's lips as she clutched the glasses to her chest. The homeless woman had been telling the truth. Her sons had been here. In this very restroom. It wasn't much, but it was the first tangible piece of evidence she'd found in 6 long weeks. With renewed determination, Jennifer straightened her shoulders and marched out of the restroom. She had a lead now, and she wasn't about to let it slip away. Blank. Blank. Jennifer emerged from the restroom. Ethan's glasses clutched tightly in her hand. Her mind was racing, trying to process this new information and figure out her next move. As she stepped into the main area of the restaurant, she nearly collided with the janitor she had encountered earlier. "Oh, excuse me," Jennifer said, steadying herself. Then, an idea struck her. "Actually, sir, can I ask you something?" The janitor nodded, leaning on his mop. "Sure thing, ma'am, what can I help you with?" Jennifer held up the glasses. "Did you, by any chance, see 2 little boys wearing matching Spider-Man shirts about a month ago?" One of them would have been wearing these glasses. The janitor's brow furrowed as he thought. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but I can't say that I did. It might not have been during my shift. And to be honest, a month is a long time to remember specific customers." Jennifer's heart sank a little. But she pressed on. "What about the women's restroom? Do you clean in there as well?" The janitor shook his head. "No, ma'am, I only handle the men's room. We have a separate cleaner for the women's facilities. But she's not in today." "I see," Jennifer said, trying to hide her disappointment. "Well, thank you anyway. Is there anyone else here who might have been working that day? Maybe someone at the counter?" The janitor gestured towards the front of the restaurant. "You could try asking the staff up there. They might remember something." Jennifer thanked him and made her way to the counter. It was a quiet time of day, with no line of customers waiting to order. A young cashier looked up as Jennifer approached, offering a practiced smile. "Welcome to KFC. How can I help you today?" Jennifer took a deep breath, steeling herself. "I'm not here to order. I'm looking for information about my sons." She held up the glasses. "I found these in your restroom. They belong to my son, Ethan. He and his twin brother have been missing for 6 weeks." The cashier's smile faded, replaced by a look of concern. "Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry to hear that. But I'm afraid I don't remember seeing any twins recently." "Please," Jennifer said, her voice cracking slightly. "They would have been wearing matching Spider-Man shirts. It would have been about a month ago." The cashier shook her head apologetically. "I'm really sorry, but I don't recall seeing them. Let me ask the others. Though." She turned and called out to her coworkers in the kitchen. "Hey guys, can you come here for a sec?" A few more employees gathered at the counter, and the cashier explained the situation. Jennifer held up the glasses and described her sons. But each staff member shook their head in turn. Just as Jennifer was about to give up hope, the manager emerged from the back office. "What's going on out here?" he asked, looking from his employees to Jennifer. "Sir," Jennifer said, turning to face him, "my name is Jennifer Lopez. My twin sons have been missing for 6 weeks. And I've just found evidence that they were here in your restaurant about a month ago." She held up the glasses. "Is there any way I could check your security footage from that day?" The manager, whose name tag read, Kenny Brown, frowned slightly. "I'm very sorry about your sons, Mrs. Lopez, but we can't just give access to our security footage to anyone who asks. We'd need police confirmation for something like that." Jennifer nodded, understanding but frustrated. "Of course, I understand. Let me call the detective in charge of the case right now." She pulled out her phone and dialed Detective Ryan Chen's number, silently praying he would pick up. After a few rings, she heard his voice on the other end. "Detective Chen speaking. Ryan, it's Jennifer Lopez," she said quickly. "I'm at the KFC on Lincoln Boulevard. I found Ethan's glasses here, and I need your help to access their security footage." There was a brief pause on the other end of the line. "You found his glasses, Jennifer? That's significant. I'll be there as soon as I can. In the meantime, can you put the manager on the phone?" Jennifer handed her phone to Kenny, who listened intently as Detective Chen spoke. After a few moments, he nodded. "Yes, of course, Detective. We'll cooperate fully. I'll start preparing the footage now." He handed the phone back to Jennifer, who quickly confirmed a few more details with Ryan before hanging up. Kenny turned to her, his demeanor noticeably softer. "Mrs. Lopez, if you'd like to wait in my office, I'll get started on retrieving that footage. The detective should be here soon." Jennifer nodded gratefully, following Kenny to the back office. As she settled into a chair, her mind was a whirlwind of emotions: hope, fear, anticipation. They all swirled together as she waited for Detective Chen to arrive and for the chance to finally see what had happened to her precious boys. The minutes ticked by agonizingly slowly as Jennifer waited in Kenny's office. She clutched Ethan's glasses in her hands, running her thumb over the engraved name again and again. The familiar shape and weight of the frames brought a flood of memories: Ethan's excited smile when he first got them, the way he'd push them up his nose when he was concentrating on a book, the times Jennifer had to remind him not to leave them on the bathroom counter. A soft knock on the door jolted Jennifer from her reverie. Kenny poked his head in. "Mrs. Lopez, Detective Chen is here." Jennifer stood quickly as Ryan entered the room, his face a mix of concern and determination. "Jennifer," he said warmly, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Tell me everything." As Jennifer recounted her conversation with the homeless woman and the discovery of the glasses, Ryan listened intently, jotting notes in his small notebook. When she finished, the detective turned to Kenny. "Mr. Brown, have you located the footage from the day in question?" Kenny nodded, gesturing to his computer. "I've pulled up the recordings from 6 weeks ago, the day the boys went missing. We'll need to go through it hour by hour." "Then let's get started," Ryan said, pulling up a chair. For the next few hours, Jennifer, Ryan, and Kenny pored over the security footage. They watched the comings and goings of countless customers, Jennifer's eyes straining for any glimpse of her sons. Just when she was beginning to lose hope, Ryan suddenly leaned forward, pointing at the screen. "There," he exclaimed. "Look, by the back entrance." Jennifer's heart leapt into her throat as she saw them. Ethan and Noah, hand in hand, their matching Spider-Man shirts unmistakable. They were being led by a tall man in a hoodie, his face obscured by the angle of the camera. "Oh my God," Jennifer whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "It's them. It's really them." They watched as the man guided the boys directly to the restroom, bypassing the counter entirely. Jennifer frowned, noticing something odd about the way Ethan and Noah were behaving. "They don't look scared," she said, confusion evident in her voice. "It's like they know him." Ryan nodded, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Jennifer, does this man's walk look familiar to you? There's something distinctive about his gait." Jennifer studied the figure on the screen, watching the way he moved. There was a slight limp, a heaviness to his steps that tugged at her memory. But try as she might, she couldn't place it. I'm not sure. I can't think of anyone specific." The detective made a note in his pad. "I'm going to have our analysts run this through our system. Sometimes a person's walk can be as identifying as a fingerprint." They continued watching, but the camera's angle made it difficult to see much more. The man's face remained hidden by his hoodie, cap, and sunglasses, and the bathroom area was mostly out of frame. After reviewing the footage multiple times, Ryan sat back with a sigh. "This is definitely a solid lead. Jennifer, we'll need to take this back to the station for further analysis." Jennifer nodded, her mind still reeling from seeing her sons on the screen. "What about Ethan's glasses? Can you use them for evidence?" "Absolutely," Ryan said, holding out an evidence bag. "We'll run some tests, see if we can pick up any DNA or fingerprints other than Ethan's." With a heavy heart, Jennifer placed the glasses in the bag. It felt like giving away a piece of her son, but she knew it was necessary. As Ryan requested a copy of the footage from Kenny, Jennifer had a sudden thought. "Could I get a copy too?" she asked, pulling a USB drive from her purse. "Just in case I notice something later." Kenny hesitated, looking to Ryan for approval. The detective nodded, and Kenny copied the files onto Jennifer's drive. Jennifer glanced at her watch as she exited the manager's office. 6:20 p.m. Time had flown by in Kenny's office, and now she was cutting it close for the family game night. Part of her wanted nothing more than to go home, curl up with her laptop, and study the footage over and over again. But she knew Michael and his family were counting on her. With a sigh, she turned to the KFC counter. "I'll take 3 buckets of chicken and some large fries," she told the cashier. As an afterthought, she added, "and a 3-piece combo meal with a water. Please, blank, _ blank." While waiting for her order, Jennifer's mind drifted to the homeless woman who had given her this crucial lead. She felt a surge of gratitude mixed with a twinge of guilt for not thinking of her sooner. When her order was ready, Jennifer carefully balanced the food and made her way outside. To her relief, the homeless woman was still there, dozing against the wall of the restaurant. "Excuse me," Jennifer said softly, gently tapping the woman's shoulder as she crouched by her side. The woman startled awake, her eyes widening as she recognized Jennifer. "Oh, it's you again," she said, her voice gravelly from sleep. Jennifer smiled warmly, holding out the combo meal. "I wanted to thank you properly for your help. Because of what you told me, I found a new lead about my boys." The woman's face lit up as she accepted the food. "Really? Oh, that's wonderful news. I'm so glad I could help. I never asked your name." Jennifer realized. Maggie Laguna. "That's a beautiful name, Maggie," Jennifer said. "I'm Jennifer Lopez. Listen, I was wondering, if I need to find you again, where might I look?" Maggie thought for a moment. "Well, I'm usually around here or near the farmer's market a few blocks over. Can't miss me. I'm the one with the cardboard sign and the charming personality," she added with a wry smile. Jennifer chuckled, feeling a genuine moment of lightness for the first time in weeks. "Maggie, I promise you this. When I find my sons, I'll come back here to let you know. You've given me hope when I needed it most." Maggie's eyes welled up with tears. "I'll be praying for you and your boys. Jennifer, I hope you find them soon. Blank. _ blank. With a final thank you and goodbye, Jennifer made her way back to her car. As she settled into the driver's seat, she took a deep breath, trying to center herself. The events of the day swirled in her mind. The disappointment at the police station. The unexpected lead from Maggie. The heart-stopping moment of seeing her boys on the security footage. She took a long swig from her soda, needing the sugar boost to get through the evening ahead. As she pulled out of the parking lot, Jennifer's determination solidified. The police had the footage now. And with any luck, they'd be able to identify the man by his distinctive walk. It wasn't much, but it was more than they'd had this morning. Blank. Blank. The evening traffic was heavy, and Jennifer found herself stuck in a sea of cars leaving work for the day. She texted Michael, apologizing for running late and blaming the traffic. As she inched along the freeway, her mind kept drifting back to the USB drive in her purse. She was itching to watch the footage again, to scrutinize every frame for clues they might have missed. Blank. By the time Jennifer finally pulled into her driveway, several cars were already parked along the street. She could hear the muffled sounds of laughter and conversation from inside the house. Taking a deep breath, she gathered the food and prepared herself for the onslaught of Michael's boisterous family. As she opened the front door, the noise hit her like a wave. Michael's brothers were crowded around the coffee table, engrossed in what looked like an intense board game. Their mother, Teresa, was in the kitchen with Michael's sister-in-law, laying out plates and napkins. The kids were sprawled in front of the TV, controllers in hand, as they battled it out in some video game. Blank. "I'm home," Jennifer called out, trying to inject some cheer into her voice. "Sorry I'm late. I brought chicken." A chorus of greetings and thank yous met her as she made her way to the dining room table with the food. She spotted Michael, still absorbed in the board game with his brothers. Part of her wanted to pull him aside immediately and tell him about the day's developments. But seeing how relaxed and happy he looked, she hesitated. Instead, she approached him, touching his shoulder gently. "Hey, I'm back," she said softly. Michael looked up, his face breaking into a warm smile. "Hey honey, how'd your day go?" Blank. The simple question nearly broke Jennifer's composure. How could she possibly sum up the emotional rollercoaster of the past few hours? But looking into Michael's eyes, seeing the love and concern there, she knew she couldn't keep it from him. "Actually," she said, her voice low, "something happened today. Detective Chen and we found some new evidence." Blank. Michael's expression shifted immediately. The carefree smile disappeared, replaced by intense focus. He turned to his younger brother. "Kevin, hey, I'm going to sit this round out. You guys keep playing." Blank. As Michael stood, the rest of the family seemed to sense the change in atmosphere. Jennifer felt their curious gazes on her back as she and Michael made their way upstairs to their bedroom, seeking a moment of privacy amidst the chaos of the game night. Blank. Underscore. Blank. As Jennifer and Michael climbed the stairs to their bedroom, the sounds of the family gathering faded into a muffled backdrop. Jennifer's heart was pounding, her mind racing as she tried to figure out how to explain everything that had happened. Once inside their room, Michael closed the door and turned to face her, his expression a mix of hope and apprehension. Jennifer, what's going on? What kind of evidence did you find? Jennifer took a deep breath. Steadying herself, she reached into her purse and pulled out the USB drive. Holding it up for Michael to see. I found Ethan's glasses at a KFC today. The one on Lincoln Boulevard. She began, her voice trembling slightly. And we got security footage of the boys there on the day they disappeared. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Michael's eyes widened in shock. What? How did you find this? Jennifer quickly recounted her conversation with Maggie, the homeless woman, and the subsequent discovery in the restroom. As she spoke, she moved to their computer, inserting the USB drive and pulling up the footage. Michael leaned in close, his breath catching as the video began to play. Jennifer pointed to the screen, her fingers shaking slightly. There, by the back entrance. Do you see them? Blank. Underscore. Blank. A choked sob escaped Michael's throat as he saw his sons. Their matching Spider-Man shirts unmistakable even on the grainy footage. Oh my God, he whispered. It's really them. Blank. Underscore. Blank. They watched in intense silence as the man led the boys towards the restroom. Michael's brow furrowed, his eyes fixed on the mysterious figure. Who is that? He asked, his voice tight with anger and fear. And why do the boys seem so calm with him? Jennifer shook her head. We don't know. His face is hidden. But Detective Chen noticed something about the way he walks. See how he's limping slightly, she said. They might be able to identify him from his gait. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Michael leaned in closer, studying the man's movements. He does have a distinctive walk, he murmured. And he's a big guy. But I can't think of anyone we know who matches that description. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Just then, Jennifer's phone buzzed with an incoming call. Her heart leapt when she saw it was Detective Chen. Ryan, she answered quickly. Did you find something? Michael watched anxiously as Jennifer listened, her face falling with each passing second. When she finally hung up, she looked defeated. They couldn't identify him from his walk, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. There are just too many people with similar gaits in their system. And his face is too obscured by the hoodie and sunglasses for facial recognition. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Michael pulled Jennifer into a tight embrace as she fought back tears. Hey, it's okay, he said softly, stroking her hair. This is still more than we had this morning. The police know where the boys were last seen now. That's huge. Jennifer nodded against his chest, trying to draw strength from his words. After a moment, she pulled back, wiping her eyes. Ryan said they're going to canvass the area around the KFC. See if anyone remembers seeing anything suspicious that day. Michael squeezed her hand reassuringly. That's good. Someone must have seen something. We just need to keep pushing. Keep hoping. Jennifer managed a small smile, grateful for Michael's unwavering support. You're right. We can't give up now. Blank. Underscore. Blank. They stood there for a moment, drawing comfort from each other's presence. Then, reluctantly, Michael glanced at the bedroom door. We should probably head back down, he said. They'll be wondering where we disappeared to. Jennifer nodded, taking a deep breath to compose herself. As they made their way back downstairs, hand in hand, she tried to prepare herself for the onslaught of family interaction ahead. Blank. Underscore. Blank. When they reached the living room, Michael's mother, Teresa, immediately noticed their somber expressions. She excused herself from the conversation she was having and approached them. Concern etched on her face. Is everything all right? She asked softly, leading them to a quieter corner of the room. Michael and Jennifer exchanged a look before Michael spoke. Mom, we've had a development in the case, he said, keeping his voice low. Jennifer found some new evidence today. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Teresa's eyes widened, and she clasped Jennifer's hand tightly. Oh, sweetheart, what did you find? As Jennifer recounted the day's events once more, she was struck by the mix of hope and anguish on Teresa's face. When she finished, Teresa pulled them both into a fierce hug. "My brave, strong children," she murmured. "You've been through so much. Blank. Underscore, blank. Listen," Teresa continued, pulling back slightly. "I've been thinking, maybe it's time we hired a private investigator." Michael started to protest, but Teresa held up a hand to stop him. "Our family factory has been doing exceptionally well these past few months. Let me do this for you. For the boys. A PI might be able to move faster. Dig deeper than the police can." Jennifer and Michael exchanged a look, a spark of hope igniting between them. Blank. Underscore, blank. Before they could respond, Michael's older brother, David, approached the group. "Hey, what's with all the serious faces?" he asked. His tone light but his eyes concerned. "How's the search for my favorite nephews going?" Jennifer felt a pang in her chest at the mention of the boys. David had always been so good with Ethan and Noah, showering them with attention and gifts at every family gathering. She knew he must be missing them terribly too. Blank. Underscore, blank. "Actually, David," she said, making a split-second decision, "I was wondering if you could help us. We're trying to get the word out about the boys as much as possible. Could you maybe share their photos on your social media? You have quite a following, don't you?" David's face lit up. "Of course, anything I can do to help. I'll post about them right away. Get my followers to spread the word." Blank. Underscore, blank. As David pulled out his phone, Jennifer felt a small sense of accomplishment. Every little bit helped, and who knew? Maybe someone in David's network would recognize the boys. Blank. Underscore, blank. The family game night continued around them. The laughter and chatter a stark contrast to the heavy conversation in their corner. But as Jennifer looked around at the faces of her extended family, all eager to help in whatever way they could, she felt a renewed sense of determination. They would find Ethan and Noah. They had to. And with the support of their family and this new lead, they were one step closer to bringing her boys home. As the family game night wound down and guests began to depart, Jennifer found herself standing on the porch saying goodbye to the last of Michael's relatives. David, Michael's older brother, was the last to leave. As he hugged Jennifer goodbye, she couldn't help but notice something odd about the way he moved. David descended the porch steps with a slight limp, favoring his left leg. The movement was subtle, but in Jennifer's heightened state of awareness, it stood out like a beacon. She watched, her heart rate quickening, as he made his way to his car with the same distinctive gait. Blank. Underscore, blank. Jennifer's mind raced back to the security footage they had watched earlier. The man leading Ethan and Noah had walked with a similar limp. Could it be just a coincidence? As David's car pulled away, Jennifer turned to Michael, who was cleaning up in the living room. "Hey," she said, trying to keep her voice casual. "Did you notice David limping just now?" Blank. Underscore, blank. Michael looked up from the board game he was packing away. "Oh yeah, he took a bad fall playing soccer last month. Messed up his knee and ankle pretty badly." Jennifer felt a chill run down her spine. Last month, around the same time the boys went missing. Around the same time they were seen at the KFC with the limping man. She tried to push the thought away. This was David. After all, he was family. He adored Ethan and Noah. There was no way he could be involved in their disappearance. Was there? Blank. Underscore, blank. But the seed of suspicion had been planted, and Jennifer couldn't shake it. She needed to see that footage again, to compare David's walk to the man in the video. Blank. Underscore, blank. "I'm going to head upstairs," she told Michael. "I want to look over some things before bed." Michael nodded, understanding in his eyes. "Okay, honey, don't stay up too late. All right? We both need our rest." Jennifer kissed him on the cheek and made her way upstairs. Blank. Underscore, blank. In their bedroom, she booted up the computer and inserted the USB drive containing the security footage. As the video played over and over again, she scrutinized every movement of the man leading the boys into the KFC. The more she watched, the more similarities she saw between the man's gait and David's limp. The heaviness in the left step, the slight drag of the foot. It was eerily similar. Blank. Underscore, blank. Jennifer's mind whirled with possibilities. Could David really be involved? But why? He had always been so kind to the boys. So attentive. He didn't have any children of his own. Often joking that Ethan and Noah were the sons he never had. Blank. Underscore. Blank. She thought about telling Michael her suspicions. But hesitated. The brothers had a complicated relationship, with years of unspoken tension between them. If she was wrong about this, it could drive an irreparable wedge between them. Blank. Underscore. Blank. No, she decided. She needed more evidence before she could bring this to Michael or the police. She needed to be absolutely certain. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Jennifer spent the next hour rewatching the footage, making notes, and trying to recall every interaction she'd had with David over the past few weeks. Had there been any signs she'd missed? Any strange behavior she'd overlooked? Blank. Underscore. Blank. It was well past midnight when Michael finally came up to bed. Jennifer quickly closed the video and shut down the computer, not wanting to worry him with her suspicions just yet. Blank. Underscore. Blank. As they lay in bed, Michael's steady breathing beside her, Jennifer's mind continued to race. She thought about the way David had always showered the boys with gifts. How he preferred to play with them at family gatherings rather than engage with the adults. At the time, it had seemed sweet, but now, in the stillness of the night, those memories felt tainted. The pieces didn't fit together the way they used to. Blank. Underscore. Blank. She replayed the moments in her head. David's lingering glances, his too frequent offers to babysit, his sudden appearance at their house during the day. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Jennifer barely slept that night, her mind churning with suspicions and doubts. As the first light of morning crept through the curtains, she made a decision. She needed to visit David, to see his reaction face to face. It was the only way to know for sure if her suspicions had any merit. Blank. Underscore. Blank. She slipped out of bed, careful not to wake Michael. As she got dressed, she rehearsed what she would say to David in her head. How could she approach this without accusing him outright? Blank. Underscore. Blank. Jennifer left a note for Michael, saying she had gone out early to follow up on a lead. It wasn't entirely a lie, but the guilt of keeping her suspicions from him weighed heavily on her.